Our next speaker is our good friend from Schuyler, Nebraska, a candidate for the U.S. Senate. He was a candidate one time ago, and Pat Flynn. Pat. Good to see you.
Thank you, and it's great to see you guys here today. What really excites me is that we have people that are getting involved in the political process. I ran in 2008, and the reason is because I was sick of the career politician types, and I said, I'm a businessman, I know how to do this. Today, I want to just say, I want to get across three things. Number one, you guys and us can get America going again by getting the 76% of the people that don't vote to vote and get them excited in the political process. Number two, this spending and this debt ceiling are out of control, and if we really think President Obama is on our side, we would be duly mistaken. The fact is, if you and I get on our congressmen and U.S. senators' case, put the heat on them, they will do something about it or they're out of there, because the fact we have to put President Obama up against the wall and show him what we know what he's up to. And number three, the fact is, so the last thing is we don't have a lot of power as far as the people in exact today, but the issue is today. And I hope I can give you some hope what we can do today to get through what lies ahead of us. The main issue, I'm saying this, the issues are vast, but the bottom line is there's a full-blown assault on life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness in America today. There is a financial tsunami coming at us like no other if we don't do something soon. It's not about 2012 at the moment. It's about today, and what can we do today to avoid this financial tsunami? I understand economics well. I am an investment advisor of 29 years. And if we think that we can just raise this debt ceiling and get by with it and keep spending the way we are, we're duly mistaken. Nobody's buying our debt. We have never been in this position in all our lives. We have been a debtor nation. We haven't been a creditor nation, not a debtor nation. So the burden of debt is truly the issue of today, and how do we get it addressed today? I liked what Abraham Lincoln said at Gettysburg. He said, we are testing whether this nation can long endure. America is definitely at the test today. When historians look back at these times, will we be known as a complacent, spoiled, one-day wonder, or will we be known as the land of the free, the home of the brave? The time is now for we, the people, to stand up and free ourselves of this self-imposed crisis and return to the principles of independence. Now, what would I do as United States Senator? But better yet, what can our U.S. Congressman and United States Senator do right now to avoid what's coming at us financially? Number one, it is do not raise the debt ceiling. Raising the debt ceiling will signal to the markets and the world that America is not serious about financial reform, which will increase the interest on our debt and accelerate us along a track to a fiscal crisis. The Republicans in the House and the Senate should have been on this for the last 6 months, leading the nation saying this. They should pass a full faith and credit act, which would take away from this administration the discretion to default on U.S. treasuries. Default could only occur if President Obama and Geithner decide to recklessly pay vendors and other expenditures other than the debt service. So they will flush him out and show him for what he is. Americans are against raising this debt ceiling, and they aren't really serious about that. Number two, we have to cut government spending now. The deficit is $1.6 trillion. That's how much we cut government spending, first and foremost. We cut it by cutting the agencies. These agencies have usurped the power of the elected officials, and they are making more laws than the elected officials, and the executive is in charge of those. They are taking away our liberties and creating a culture of dependence. The fact is the most vulnerable agency today is the Department of Energy. We've had that department since 1977, and I'll guarantee you it's very vulnerable because we've been dependent on energy ever since 1977. The agencies are the problem. Then we can cut funding for the United Nations by 40%, see how they feel about it. That's a thug organization. The next thing we do is we cut funding for the Obamacare mandates. We cut funding for the financial reform bill mandates. We cut funding for abortion. The number of problems we have in this country are in direct correlation with the number of abortions in this country. And the last thing we have to do as far as policy today is repeal that Commodities Futures Modernization Act. Right now, the market can be 100% speculated in the commodities market, and one man now can sway the market in the commodities industry. That one man is George Soros. What's that?
Subprime investments, indexing, and derivatives.
Exactly.
That bill won't fix that.
It will get rid of the speculation, which is number one, prime importance, and number two, if you repeal that financial reform bill, that will be a huge deal, okay? We have to do what's immediacy today, and that will help on the derivatives, by the way. I know that very well. Thank you very much, okay? Now, so, is America going to do this today? Probably not, but the guaranteed solution is this. Number one, I am challenging America that we have to become the greatest generation ever to get through what lies ahead of us. How do we do that? Number one is prayer. Now, if one thinks America became America without the reliance on prayer, you'd be duly mistaken. When America declared her independence from the British Empire in 1776, our first commander-in-chief, General George Washington, called for prayer, fasting, and humble supplication to the Lord for his continued blessings. I'll stick with following America's greatest president as my leader. Yes. Number two, we have to become a virtuous man and a virtuous nation. Virtue means the quality of moral excellence, righteousness, and responsibility. I am seeing a lot of responsibility with attendance today. That's great hope. Samuel Adams said this. He said, a general dissolution of the principles and manners will more surely overthrow the liberties of America than the whole force of the common enemy. He said, while the people are virtuous, they cannot be subdued. But once they lose their virtue, they will be ready to surrender their liberties to the first external or internal invader. Now, does that sound familiar? Now, the last sentence, though, is where all the hope is in the world. He said, if virtue and knowledge are diffused among the people, they will never be enslaved. This will be their great security. Lastly, I'm proposing we have to have a constitutional revolution by electing representatives who can lead us back to the principles and values of our founding fathers. Our Constitution in the past and currently has been getting rolled, and our elected representatives in Washington are doing nothing to stop this action. This is what the Declaration of Independence says about having a constitutional revolution. It says, but when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and provide new guards for their future security. I'm vying to become one of those new guards as your next United States Senator. If you want Pat Flynn to represent Nebraska in the United States Senate, I need you to have my back. I cannot go into battle alone. We need an army, and this includes you. The last line of the Declaration of Independence states this. It says, and for the support of this declaration, with the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. And that's what I'm asking of you. If all of us, and you get more people to get on this bandwagon, we start praying, working, contributing, and voting, and get others to do the same, America will win what we're going through. Thank you. God bless America.
Thank you, Pat.